a man whose name literally needs no introduction. The term legend is passed around a little bit too much these days, but certainly not for this man, Royce Gracie. I don't even want to try and list your accomplishments in Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. How are things with you today, my friend?
Let's say life is good in my world. No complaints. We'll do it all over again.
For those who aren't aware, how do you spend your days now? How are things in retirement from combat sports?
I mean, I travel about 7 months of the year, all over the world. I should be coming to England, Wales, Europe, Portugal, Spain, Italy in July. I'll wait until the weather is nice and warm. I don't want to come. I used to come on the winter in February. Forget it. No more.
I imagine for a man from Rio de Janeiro who lives in California, cold weather mustn't be a good thing for you.
I don't get along with cold weather very well. Let's just say that. I can go for a couple of days. I snowboard, I ski, yes. But yeah, after a week, it's like, okay, time for me to go back to the beach.
What is it like teaching? Was it always an ambition of yours to run seminars, to run classes for pupils? Was that always a goal in your mind?
Okay, people have a misconception about my family. They thought that my uncles, my father, people think that they taught us how to fight. No, they taught us how to teach. We're all very good instructors, you see. We all can teach. That's the gift that we have. Fighting is just for the fun of it. So yes, I enjoy teaching. Traveling, I love to travel, and I love to teach. So I put both of them together.
Sounds fantastic. At what age did you feel like you became a teacher? At what age did you stop learning as much jiu-jitsu and start teaching it to others?
Oh, from teenagers. As a teenager, 14, I was already teaching classes. My brothers, myself, and I see the same pattern. My sons, my daughter, are 14 years old. They're already even younger than that today. I take them to help me out in the kids' class, and they already walk around fixing the other kids, helping them out, and I'm teaching them how to teach from a young age. And that's how I learned from my father.
Of course, we know it doesn't need me to say how special of a man your father, Helio Gracie, was, but I guess what I want to ask is where do you think combat sports, where do you think jiu-jitsu are without your father? Where do you think MMA would be without Helio Gracie?
Without my father, without Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I think would be back like the old days. Karate against Kung Fu, wrestling against Taekwondo, Judo, you see, style against style. Jiu-Jitsu, what my father created is the bond that glued all the styles together.
What was it like? I want to take it back from the start. What was it like growing up in Rio de Janeiro? I read your half-brother's book, Hickson, a couple of weeks ago, Breathe, and he talked all about the fights on the beach with the Vale Tudo guys. Talk to me a little bit about your upbringing in Rio de Janeiro.
Okay, I never had a fight on the street.
Okay.
So that was one of the things that even my mother was against when my father chose me to fight in the first UFC. Because everybody else in the family had many fights and they all experienced. And here I come, no experience in the fighting business. Like my father's like, I'm going to put him. So yeah, it was, to me, by the time I was growing up, I had a lot of older brothers, older cousins. So they already took care of the business.
Yeah.
They already took care of the fighting part. So I never had a chance to really prove myself until the UFC.
Do you think you were able to improve your skills so much with so many older role models? You had so many brothers. You obviously had your father and your uncles. Do you think being one of the younger generation in that Gracie clan, do you think you were able to improve your skills even more?
I'm so glad that I grew up in a family where my father had 9 kids, my uncle had 21. So I had a lot of brothers, a lot of cousins. There was no need for friends outside the family. my best friends were inside the family right there already. You see, I got raised with them, and yes, we're always pushing each other.
Yeah, 100%. I have to ask, and I'm sure you get this question so much, but UFC 1, where the Ultimate Fighting Championship all began, did you, in that moment in 1994, did you feel like MMA could become what it is now, nearly 30 years later, as popular as it is, as high-skilled as it is? Did you think that was possible?
I think when Helio created UFC in '93, I think we were more in shock that people didn't know about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, didn't know about who Helio Gracie was, didn't know about MMA. And that's stuff that my family has been doing in Brazil for a long, long time already. So I think people like, I mean, Jorge and I, mostly Jorge, that's the idea why he created the UFC, I think, was like to spread the word of Jiu-Jitsu, who Helio Gracie was, and about there's more than just rules for like a karate, for example. And what if the guy tackles you and take you down? What if a wrestler, judo guy getting a clinch on you? Oh, it will never happen. How do you know? And everybody thought about it, but nobody ever really put it to the test. So that was the quest for my family, is always testing to see if our jiu-jitsu would be good enough in a fight.
You obviously had supreme confidence in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, but when you stood across from the likes of Frank Shamrock, this extremely muscly man, was there any doubt in the back of your mind that maybe he could beat you at that early part of them tournaments?
Zero doubts. Zero doubts. Doesn't matter how big, how strong. That's the beauty of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It gives you the ability. Okay, my father's thought was not like go over there and beat them. Go over there and don't lose to them.
Yeah.
If you don't lose, the question is how you're going to win.
Yeah.
So my father's mentality was a very defensive way.
Would you say Jiu-Jitsu is a defensive martial art, or is it an offensive martial art?
It's a very self-defense.
Self-defense.
That was the beauty. It's like, I'm not saying I'm going to beat them, but I'm not going to lose to them. That was the mentality. Okay. So when do I win? When they lose, when they make a mistake.
Yeah, because a lot of your fights are generally the opponent may tire out, and you kind of can win after kind of weathering the storm, their muscles getting a little bit more tired. So it makes sense of the defensive aspect of jiu-jitsu. Yes.
Well, but then my father, I always refer to my father because he was my coach. So, but then it was like, he was like, okay, son, we'll give it to them the weight advantage, but they got to give us time. So on the moment that I'm fighting, no time, no weight division, I want no time limit, because it's unfair. A guy 100 kilos, 200 pounds heavier than me, lay on top of me, hold me down for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, and he wins. It's like, no, let the fight go on. No weight division, but no time limit.
Can you give me an insight into what your first thought was when you found out that Helio, your father, wanted you to fight in the Ultimate Fighting Championship as the Gracie representative?
Growing up in this family, you always want a chance to prove yourself. It's a bunch of studs, man. Everybody's a good fighter. Everybody's a good teacher. Everybody's it's a stud in the film. A bunch of studs. Yeah. So, and here I am like, choose me, please, please. So yeah, when he chose me, it's like, okay, it's my turn to prove.
Do you think the others were disappointed, the likes of Hicks and the likes of the others, that they weren't chosen? Do you think?
I think inside the family we are very supportive of each other.
Yeah.
So there was no like, oh my God, you chose him. I'm not gonna go over there. I'm not gonna support him. There's no such a thing. It's like we're very supportive of each other.
Can you give me the feeling when you won them tournaments, the UFC 1 and the UFC 2 tournaments? What were they like inside for you when you were the ambassador for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in the United States? What was that like, that feeling for you?
To me, it's my job.
Yeah.
eu celebrate what? You see, my father always said that, celebrate. You train to win. When you lose, if you lose, then we have to go back and go, okay, what happened? If you had a bad fight, even though you win, but you made some mistakes, okay, we're gonna go back and let's see what happened. Let's fix this. But to win the guy and go back and celebrate, there's not much celebration. That's my job.
Yeah. Did you feel any pressure as the person representing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu? Did you feel any pressure that you couldn't lose in those tournaments?
If I put such a pressure on myself, I wouldn't even walk out.
Yeah.
I know there was pressure, but the family was so good on somehow taking the pressure away. You see, it made me feel comfortable.
Other than specific people, other than your skills, other than the leadership that Helio had, what makes Gracie Jiu-Jitsu so formidable for opponents? What is it that in your blood, in your Brazilian blood, that just makes you guys such fierce warriors?
Well, to make the Brazilians, there's not, okay, if you look in America or England, there's so many sports. You guys go to the Olympics and you compete on everything. Brazil is not as good. They have soccer and they have fighting. Yes, volleyball, there's some basketball players, but there's not as swimmers and tracking, but there's not with practice, but it's not as good and invest like American or England or so, but we invest.
So as we were talking about Royce, what made Gracie Jiu-Jitsu so impressive? You talked about the different sports that are played around the world, but Brazil only has certain sports. Talk to me about what made Gracie Jiu-Jitsu so special.
What makes Gracie Jiu-Jitsu so special is you don't have to be big, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to be fast. Once you have the right technique, the right leverage, a smaller person can defeat somebody much bigger and stronger. And I think that was the idea of putting me to compete in the UFC. I'm an average size person. People can assimilate themselves. They look at me like, is that all? Where's the rest of you? So they assimilate themselves with me. Could have put somebody on the family that was bigger and had more fights, but I think I fit more of the general public.
Yeah. It looks more impressive because you're a smaller man.
Yeah, that was the idea too.
Yeah. What, you had such a fantastic career, so many memorable fights, just a pioneer of the sport. I guess when you look back on your career now, a couple of years removed, what is the most special moment for you? What's the most proud moment that you have in your mixed martial arts career?
In the mixed martial arts career, man, it's tough to pick one.
Of course.
UFC 1, winning 3 fights in one night. And then UFC 2 is 4 fights, 16-man tournament. No time limit, no weight division, no rules. Then fighting Kimo, 250 pounds beast, man. Or Dan Severn, 265 All-American wrestler, 265 pounds All-American wrestler. Beat if you watch his fights before he got to me, the way he beat everybody, it's like nobody stand a chance against him. He was a beast. That was his nickname. And then fighting like Sakuraba for an hour and a half in the cage in the ring in Japan with Sakuraba. Or Akibono, 6'8", 490 pounds. It's tough to pick one.
Of course. It was a very difficult question, and I do apologize, but I want to just focus a little bit on modern jiu-jitsu and maybe perhaps where the martial art has changed a little bit, because we've seen certainly in no-gi jiu-jitsu a rise in leg lock attempts with the likes of the Danaher Death Squad, Gordon Ryan obviously at the front of that. So what are your opinions on some of the more modern tactics in jiu-jitsu competition?
I mean, I'm not much of a favor of competition or on point system.
Yeah.
You see, I believe the martial art in general was not made for point system. But yes, they are very good very good athletes. The guys know the rules of the game. And you see, there's a lot of old talent, new talent, the current talent guys. So it's hard to pick one.
Of course.
And of course, with the tournaments, like in every tournament, in every sport, the way the strategy change and they get better, become better athletes today, let's say.
Yeah.
But the main thing is the strategy. One person comes in and have such a strategy that nobody can figure him out until a few years later, somebody comes up again with a new strategy and a new way to do it. And yeah.
Do you think you would still be the king if you were in your prime right now? If you were facing some of these beasts in Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, do you think you would still be the man to beat?
Man, there's only one way to find out. There's only one way to find out. It would be hard to pick up a Muhammad Ali and put him to fight Tyson Fury today. You see, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, of course. I want to talk as well.
But I tell you, the guys today, they got better way to prepare themselves.
Yes.
A right hand is still a right hand. An uppercut's an uppercut. An arm bar is still an arm bar. A heel hook is a heel hook. But the training, the food, the preparation, the technology, and be able to watch the opponent's match and figure out where he's making mistakes and go ahead and attack those mistakes. Oh man, it's so far. It became so far advanced.
Yeah. I wanted to ask that because now we have, as you mentioned, sports science, nutritionists, fight analysts. We have so much resource in combat sports to help fighters improve. Do you kind of wish you were in this era with so much assistance for the fighters where they can improve so much?
Man, imagine all this technology back then when I was fighting. It would be awesome.
Would have been crazy. I want to mention as well, because we have 3 current UFC champions from your home country of Brazil, Davison Figueiredo, Charles Oliveira, and Glover Teixeira, who in their own way all use jiu-jitsu in their fights. So how impressed are you and how proud are you of them 3 Brazilians who are flying the flag of your country and your martial art?
Man, it's awesome that, I mean, Charles Oliveira, you can speak highly enough for the guy, man. He finishes everybody. He proved himself. A lot of people have doubts. The guy's breaking all kind of records out there, man. It's awesome. And Glover Teixeira, it's like, yeah, all of them, man. And there's more.
Yeah.
There's more to come. We're not gonna finish right there. There's more Brazilians coming around.
Of course. Who are your favorite fighters to watch in MMA, and who specifically are your favorite fighters whose main discipline is jiu-jitsu in MMA? Who do you enjoy watching?
Oh, Neiman Gracie, my cousin.
Yes.
The kid is coming up, man. He's coming up. He's going to be the champion soon. Very disciplined, very dedicated, and really good.
He has a very big fight coming up next month, I believe, with Logan Storley.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
going to be a good one. It's a good to the test.
Yeah, of course. I want to ask as well, I don't know how close you are, but have you heard anything from Kron? Because we haven't seen Kron Gracie in action since his loss to Cub Swanson.
I heard he moved out of state. He was here in California, but he moved to Montana, opened up a school over there. He's training. Don't count him out yet.
Listen, you would be a fool to count out someone with the surname of Gracie.
There's a lot of Gracies still coming up.
Oh, of course.
They might sit quiet for now. They're training. They're let's say, learning from all this technology.
Yeah, of course. All this beautiful technology that we have to help people improve these days.
Yep.
I just want to finish on the fighting side by asking one final question. This is a question I ask everybody who I have the pleasure of speaking to. What are your goals, Royce, for 2022? What do you want to accomplish in this calendar year?
Been there, done that.
I don't mean fighting. I just mean in your life.
I look at my life. I travel the world. I love it. I love it. I've lived in a vacation. But I enjoy teaching and I'd love to travel. So, yep, by teaching, what I like so much is building the person's character, personality. And you see little kids that have been trained with me for many years, and on the beginning they were shy and barely spoke in the class, and now they're teenagers, and then a few years from now they'll become grown men, adults, and they're either competing in tournaments or fighting or successful in the business. But I remember them when they were younger and very shy in the class. You see, that's how the beauty of how much jiu-jitsu help people around the world.
I wanted to ask about that before we go, because it has obviously so much physical benefits and it's been shown through your family. But just for the average person, just for someone who doesn't want to compete, who just wants to learn jiu-jitsu, what are the main benefits in your opinion?
Main benefit is confidence.
Confidence.
It gives you confidence to stand up for yourself, to talk to anybody, to go into negotiation. Yeah. You have confidence, knowing that you can defend yourself against anybody in that room, so they cannot intimidate you anymore.
Fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you today, Royce. It's been an absolute pleasure. In case you don't know, I was born in 1999, so I've had to catch up on a lot of your fights, but it's been a pleasure nonetheless. And I just want to personally thank you for the time and spending some of your day with me today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Before we finish, Royce, how can people find you on social media, your website, and anything you want to shout out with sponsors or anything like that? The floor is yours.
If they want to know about my seminars, they can go to my website, my name, roycegracie.com, or they can go to Royce Gracie Network Official on Instagram. Royce Gracie Network Official. I would post all my seminars, where I'm going. Fuji, make my kimonos. Samba Zone, make the best açaí. So